Okay, another little interesting thing we found when we took the forks off. There's head bearings inside here, and just kind of want you guys to watch as I try to turn his bars. Look how stiff, and then it just kind of ratchets. You can see how it ratchets back and forth. They're either really dry or the bearings are toast in there. But you think, oh, I don't really notice that, I don't feel it, but it does contribute to the smoothness and the overall feel in front of the bike, but it just kind of gets stuck right in there. So we're going to take all this apart and just check them out and look and see what's going on there. And it's really easy to do. You just take this one top nut off here. We'll have to take his bars off or loosen them and get them out of the way. We'll take this nut off, and there's kind of a lock nut underneath. Once you take this nut off, the top triple tree just comes right off. You can leave everything attached to it, and then you just knock the lock nut off, and then this bottom just basically falls out, and then you can inspect the bearings and the races and stuff. But that's a good thing to do right now when you've got the forks off and you're checking things out. If it's just dry, you can clean them and lubricate them and put them back in, but it should be really smooth and easy to turn. You shouldn't really have to apply any force at all. So we'll kind of let you guys know what we find out there. We rolling? Okay, so we just took the lower triple tree out from the head tube here, and this is the lower bearing. It actually feels kind of smooth, but it's fairly loose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to clean it real good, see how smooth everything goes. Let me grab the upper bearing. This is what the upper bearing looks like, and it actually just slides over the top like that and goes down into its race. It actually feels fairly smooth too, so it might be that previously when they lubed it or something might have just cranked it down a little too tight potentially. But we're going to clean it all up and see how smooth it is and reassemble it with some new grease and see if that ratchetiness goes away or not. So stay tuned.
Alright, here's the top of your bearing place here. This is trying to focus in on this stuff right here. You can see how it's nice and clean and shiny. If you get your fingernail right there, it's all smooth. You can't feel anything. It just feels like a nice smooth piece of metal. This is your lower race piece right here. I'm trying to, I don't know if you guys, how well you guys can see all that, but you see all the black marks. Looks really rough on the inside here. This is your lower race here. And all those black marks, if you run your finger across that, it's all rough, a little scratchy. And that's probably why when you turn your steering, your handlebars over, that it feels really grindy and kind of grippy. So we're going to fix that, get you some new pieces, and hopefully that'll take care of that problem. So it's another piece we found that needs to be replaced, so we'll take care of that too. Echo in China. Taking care of your bike here, Tyler. Found your bearings are jacked up inside your clamp here, triple tree, whatever the hell thing above it's called up here. So we're gonna get you some new bearings hooked up, pimped out, ready to go. And yeah.
I'm going to show you how to get them out too.
Then we're going to kick that guy's ass, whoever you bought this bike from. He's probably watching this video right now, actually. But we're coming for you. You got gypped. Fraudulent charges here, you know. So we're going to take this off and get you new one.
And the way you do that is you take a big old long drift like this, stick it inside, you've got to knock the race out, good size hammer, and you start working the bearing out. Try not to hit your fingers like I just did. Might take us a while, but we'll get it. Rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Alright everybody, we're back down the shop. Look what EveRide's bike's getting.
Balls, balls. That's all we need to know.
All balls racing.
EveRide's getting some balls.
Get a set, it says. Get a set of all balls racing balls.
Yes.
We have here brand new head bearings that are going to go inside of here and down here, and it's going to take us a little bit to get them on the shaft. They're going to go new dust seal on the bottom bearing. I'm going to put the new bearing race in here, slide it up, new bearing up here, clamp her down. It's going to be smooth as butter. You guys will see here in just a minute. It'll take us a few minutes to get her together. We'll be right back with you. Okay, she's home. Now the real test. Oh, butter. Nice. Okay, so now we just gotta lube it up.
And that's where I shine.
So, here's my lube.
Oh,
We use a whole tub.
using the Dove Factor lube today.
Okay folks, we're back here. We pressed the new bearing on the bottom of the steering shaft. We've got a new dust seal in the bottom. This is an area when you're spraying off your bike. Be a little careful not to put too much pressurized water in there. It can push out the grease, and or maybe every other year, take the stem off and re-lube it up. What we're going to do, we've got the new races in the top and the bottom of the steering head here. So you're basically just going to slide it on up in there like so. We're going to put the new bearing, which has been packed. We didn't show you how to pack a bearing, but basically just stuff it full of grease.
Fill it full of shame.
Fill it full of shame. And then we're going to have cranking. Oh. New dust seal. It's going to go in and cover that all up, and then you're going to put this lock nut back on. And this you can be pretty tight, but you want to have a nice, easy, smooth moving head. Now, if you guys remember what that looked like before, look how smooth that thing is now. Now, are you going to notice that when you're riding? Maybe not radically, but it's just one of those maintenance things. You'd hate to have something break or bind up in there at the last moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to just tighten it up just a little bit with this tool. It's kind of, for me, you don't want this thing backing off, so I like to snug it up a little bit where there's just a slight bit of resistance, but it's still smooth. That's actually probably pretty good right there. I'll go just a hair more. Because sometimes these can actually wear in just a little bit. You got grease on the bearings, and it still feels pretty good. That you want to make sure that you don't go out riding all of a sudden it's loose. And there, that's starting to tighten up a little bit there. So I'm going to call that good. Now the other thing is when you clamp down the top triple clamp on this. Sorry, I'm turning the whole thing here. It's going to tighten it up just a little bit, so I'm thinking that's probably going to be a little too tight. Okay, then, if I can find it in all of our stuff. Oh, it's right here. The factor moment. Oh. I don't know, EveRide. Do you really need all these wires? Maybe we can just start pulling wires out. What do you think? No? I know we got all this off somehow. There we go. There we go. Oh. Now I'm not going to crank this top nut down real tight yet because I don't know where it is.
classic EveRide material.
There it is. We're not going to tighten this down real tight yet because we've got to slide the fork tubes in here and align them. Make sure they're lined up real good, and then we will clamp this baby down very, very tight, and then we'll put the bars back on. And, oh yeah, I had it on the right way the first time. And then just want to show you real quick, just give me just a second to kind of snug this down a little bit. I just want to show you by comparison the difference now versus before. That was it. I think that was it. Okay. Now that's just a little snug. We'll straighten it all out here in a minute. But now, if we were to have, hello, nobody home. But see now, this thing does not ratchet at all. It's just nice and smooth, back and forth. And so those bearings are good to go now. Probably last another 10 years, maybe more. Periodically lube them up so they don't get pitted like the last ones did. We'll be good. So that part's done, except for when we put the new fork tubes in. We'll crank that baby down real tight, make sure it's not hanging up. And that's how you replace your head tube bearings, your steering bearings. Knock the old ones out, new ones in. There you go.